Good evening, I'm Jeff Lyons. It is Wednesday night, November the 5th, time for the 14First Alert Weather Show at 9 o'clock. Thanks for joining us tonight. I'm glad you're here, and I'm watching your comments. So if you have any, you can post them on the 14 News Facebook page, and we'll see what's on your mind here in just a bit. Well, we've gotten through the nicest day of the week, maybe the last 70-degree temperature of the month. Typically 60s about the best we can do. It's going to be clear and colder overnight tonight. We should see that temperature slide on down into the upper 30s. We have a first alert weather day still in place for Friday. Some new information coming in here. Continues to trend the greatest severe threat to the south. And then, of course, it's going to be much, much cooler with our first hard freeze of the season early next week. So let's get to that severe threat first. And for the most part, the tri-state is in brown here, which is just general thunderstorms. But a little sliver of it down here in Ohio, Muhlenberg, and Hopkins County is actually in that level 1 of 5 risk, the marginal risk. And some of the storms could produce hail or damaging winds. We can't rule that out up here in the brown, but it looks like the best dynamics, the best setup in the atmosphere are actually going to happen a little farther to the south because of the timing of the cold front. By the time it gets where it needs to be, we will have maximum heating here back to the east of that front. We will already be on the downside across the tri-state. So it's looking better for football games Friday night. Obviously, if you've been following the First Alert weather shows here, this has changed a little bit, the timing and placement and so forth, as it often does a couple days out in the models. Let's start with Friday with our best information that we have right now. We start with a cloudy day and maybe a few scattered showers in the morning. By the afternoon, you see thunderstorms and showers developing primarily over western Kentucky and flaring up there then around 3. Now earlier, even at 6 o'clock when I was on TV, we have more thunderstorms up in the metro area. That has again changed, and most of the action kind of relegated now south of the Ohio River in western Kentucky. So I would still plan on some scattered showers area-wide on Friday. The models sometimes get a little flip-floppy here. The graph now showing very little rainfall, of course, up here where we're not expecting rain. I would say, though, somewhere around 1/4 to 1/2 inch under some of the heavier thunderstorms still seems reasonable if we do get those storms. Friday's still the standalone day for our big rain chances. Over the weekend, we dry out pretty quickly. And then the temperature dives, and I want to make it a point here of saying that that 67 on Saturday is not a daytime high. That'll happen at midnight or right after, and then as we go through the day with the cold front coming through, temperatures will be sliding. So we'll probably land somewhere between 45 and 50 for the daytime high, but it will be getting progressively cooler as the day goes on. Now here on the First Alert Weather Show at 9, we have a little more time to look at some of the ingredients that we need for severe weather. Some of the charts here I'm going to show you're familiar with because we look at these, usually we look at them off air and then put together just our risk maps for TV. But we've got more time here to kind of talk about the nuts and bolts. So first off, what changed from yesterday to today was there was a little more potential energy for the storms showing up really over the entire tri-state. And some other things, including the machine learning severe model. If you follow this, it's the MLP CSU model out of Colorado State. And it was highlighting much of the southern half of even Indiana and western Kentucky for severe weather. Upper air support here, this would be the low-level jet or winds at about 5,000 feet off the ground. Did perk up a bit, but again, mainly to our east. So that's why that risk has been drawn down there. Not a whole lot of wind shear per se. And again, the thunderstorm chance, if you look, you just kind of draw a line, it's weighted more toward the southeast, which kind of lines up with that Storm Prediction Center risk map. And the tornado threat also has shifted well south of the area too. So the bottom line here is the trend, at least as of today, appears to be everything kind of moving down to the south and east a little bit. We have some bitter cold air holed up in Canada now, and that's going to sneak in here behind that cold front starting on Saturday. And so, you know, these 50s and 70s are going to go away pretty quick. These are current temps now around the Midwest. We've got 47 in Chicago, and in the tri-state here, everybody kind of huddled around 55 to 60 degrees. Not a bad one today, 72 for the high. Of course, the record for this date was 80, and that was just last year. I can't remember if we had severe, I don't think we had severe weather in conjunction with that 80 degrees, but anytime that temperature gets that high, you start to worry a bit in November. But anyway, we hit 72 and only got down to 47 this morning. And you see now our yellow day there for 72, probably one of the very few that will grace our calendar, and still no rainfall yet for the month. Not a concern, as we're still coasting from that very wet October. Tomorrow's highs will be noticeably cooler, even though it will be sunny. Temperatures only up to about 63 or so. And we have basically a waiting game here. Out to the east, we've got some severe thunderstorms in New Jersey right now and up around Washington, D.C. So that's, again, something a little unusual for November in that part of the country. High pressure will be the main driver tomorrow, but after it moves through, it's going to replenish moisture from the Gulf here that will then interact with this cold front when it comes in on Friday. And again, even the broader model here still pushing everything a little more to our south and east. And then the high pressure and colder air settles in for the weekend. Now, the GFS model keeps us dry. After we get our rain Friday night and early Saturday, we should be in the clear. By the way the GFS is painting the picture. The European model is a little wetter again on Saturday night. Now, this may be somewhat overdone. This is kind of working off the idea we'd have another low pressure kind of rolling through behind the cold front. I'm leaning more toward the GFS right now simply because, at least from a trending standpoint, it seems to be the one that has a little better handle on things. And it has backed way off on any of this snow nonsense. All that has now moved well to the north of the tri-state. We can see a flurry or two, but not anything that will have any impact. And then lots of clouds by the European next week. I think by and large we will have, you know, this partly sunny kind of overcast like we often have in November, and the European only giving us about 1/10 of an inch of rain. So either way you slice it, we're still looking at rain chances to be best on Friday with some thunderstorms thrown in there too, but the greatest threat for severe should steer south and east of the tri-state. 39 tonight, no worries, clear. Tomorrow we get up to 63. It'll be another sparkling day out there, lots of sunshine. And then our first alert weather day kicks in on Friday, followed by a quiet and much colder period. Veterans Day there on Tuesday. Of course, there'll be a lot of observances, memorial services and the like outdoors, and it is going to be quite cold, 27 in the morning and only up to about 53. So not the greatest weather to be outdoors, especially for elderly in that, so plan accordingly. Longer range up to the 15th of November. We keep the temperature pretty much on an even keel or normal for this time of the year, and no rain showing either, so whatever we get Friday will have to tide us over. All right. Now see, we were going so well, and then there's always some little hitch, isn't there? I needed to turn Freya the other way here and got sidetracked. I have many other things vying for my attention sometimes, and we'll just get this fixed right now. We don't want to shortchange Freya of all people. So this is Freya the dog looking for her treat. I think I got it close enough there. And well, now let's make it right here. All right. Don't you love watching weather graphics being produced on the fly? That's one of the features here on 14 News, the First Alert Weather Show at 9 o'clock. We like to keep you guessing on what's going to come up there in the screen. Now we've got our pet pick, as we had hoped there. This is from Diana Ferguson, and this is actually a holdover from Halloween. I'm sure Freya is treated up by now. She was looking for her Halloween treats when this particular picture was taken. All right, let's see what's on your minds this evening. And we'll get in here and check it out. There we are. All right. And we got a few of you watching there this evening. comments from Terry Schultz. We're talking about the weather, not the nuts and bolts. Yeah, I know. Nuts and bolts is a favorite phrase of mine because it's, it describes how something works. X's and O's if you're a football person, but I've always been a nuts and bolts guy. All right, did the weather outlook air yet? No, it airs tomorrow night at 6:30 here on 14 News. I'm not sure how it will stream. I think it'll go out on the stream perhaps. I'm not sure of that, but it'll definitely be on TV, and then there'll be a link on 14news.com where you can watch it back if you miss it, okay? Let's see. Cheyenne Hammond says, good evening, Adam Lewigs. How's the wind gust supposed to be during the storm, miles per hour? We could see 30, 35 if things get rolling there. And then in severe weather, obviously it would be higher than that, 50s and above, but I think the severe threat is very low. Darlene Ezel, good evening. Well, good evening, Darlene. I'm glad you're with us too. And Terry Schultz, I answered your question about nuts and bolts. I should just open a hardware store here in lieu of the weather emporium. Caleb Zeller used to live in Evansville. Now you're in Oklahoma. So you're seeking out severe weather. They have a boatload of it down there. Where are you in Oklahoma? Like Oklahoma City, Tulsa, Enid, Duncan? Wichita Falls is actually in Texas, but I'm missing one of the main cities in Oklahoma. Can't think what it is. I'll come around to it in a minute. Let's see here. Beautiful day, says Angie, and Paula Schaefer says, good evening. Well, thank you. Caleb Zeller likes the puppy back there. So see, it was worth the hassle there and embarrassment of turning the picture the right way in our graphic frame. Let's talk a little bit about Friday. So a typical severe weather setup this time of the year, really any time, but in particular in the fall, would involve a low pressure, a deep low pressure, pulling a cold front into very juicy air. Now we have sort of a diet version of that coming Friday. We don't have a lot of moisture. We don't have an incredibly powerful cold front. So everything's kind of milquetoast, and therefore we see a lesser risk for severe weather. But in the typical scenario with that counterclockwise flow around the low, we're just drawing up moisture from the Gulf, and oftentimes over the top of that we will get a low-level jet stream, which is why we always check that when we're looking ahead, the 850 millibar chart, or winds at about 5,000 feet. If they are over, say, 60, 70 miles an hour, that gets our attention, and anything over 80 really gets our attention as for, to enable severe weather. Now, just because we have strong winds up there does not mean we will get severe weather. Oftentimes, things have to come together, right? They have to be in sync. Sometimes you get the cape, but not the shear, or you'll get the shear, not the cape, or they come in the wrong order, and so even though you have what you think is sufficient atmosphere for severe weather, you don't get it. One reason we really think about this, in particular in November, tomorrow will be the 20th anniversary of the Evansville-Newburgh or tri-state tornado. And unfortunately, we had 25 fatalities in that. It happened, in the middle of the night, November 5th going into November 6th. And we just didn't have the potential or capacity to warn people like we do today. And consequently, we had a very large death toll for a tornado, largest that we've had here in the tri-state since perhaps the tri-state tornado of 1925. And just to give you an idea here, these are all tornadoes now from 1990 to 2023. That's the last year we have data for in the database. And we are going from a neutral pattern right now into La Nina. So pay more attention to the blue here. And you see that we often will have some elevated tornado counts in those years. Not quite as much, say, as an El Nino year if conditions are right, but still worth paying attention, especially this time of the year. For cool season tornadoes, and those would be ones that happen in November, December, January, February, we haven't had as many in recent years as we have in the past. Now, the one block there is the 2021 tornado in the western Kentucky, December the 10th. And prior to that, we had had a few years in the late 2010s that we had, a more significant number of cool season tornadoes. Late 2000s also there's 2005, and then 2010 also spawned several tornadoes during the cool season. And if you look just by month at when we get tornadoes around here, while the bulk of them happen in April and May, those are the two biggest months, we also have a secondary peak over here in October, November, December, through February. And those often are the strongest that we have, and have been the deadliest too. If you look at deadly tornadoes there from 95 to 2024, we've had one in each month, and the highest number of fatalities and injuries here in the tri-state is November, followed very close by December, and that was all from those two tornadoes. The one we look back 20 years at tomorrow, the November 6th tornado, and then of course the December 10th tornado in western Kentucky. So always good to keep the weather top of mind here this time of the year. I'm glad you joined us here on the 14First Alert Weather Show. I appreciate you watching, and I will see you on 14 News at 10. Have a good night.